Before I start this video, I just want to shout out Eagles01. He had correctly guessed the Easter egg in last video, just in a couple hours. I thought that it would be harder for someone to guess the Easter egg in that hype video that I did about 6-7 months ago. My dad and I just put that Easter egg in that hype video because we thought that it would be clever to put Tom Brady's voice and saying "let's go" in an Eagles hype video right before we played them in the Super Bowl. It just became that much more funny after the Eagles had won the Super Bowl. After we had beaten the Patriots like we did in the Super Bowl. So I thought that would just be a cool little video to do on the hype video. Now let's get back to the regular scheduled program.
I'm a disgruntled Eagles fan, and we're awesome.
We suck, 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 we suck. I can't believe how much we sucked in the preseason. We went 1-3. We just played absolutely terrible. I know that this is only the preseason and none of this matters, but when our starters play, they suck, especially the offensive line. All of our starters on the offensive line played except for Jason Peters, who is still recovering off of the injury or torn ACL that he had last season. But all of the rest of our offensive line played, and they played like trash. They didn't give any time to the quarterback, or in this case Nick Foles, to throw the ball. They also didn't give any room to the running back to run at all. The last 2 games of the preseason, we went 7 straight quarters without scoring any points. Now I mean any, like a field goal or anything. This makes me worried about the regular season and how much we're going to suck. If we play like this, we're going to make it nowhere. We're going to end up like 0-16, just like the Browns. But I feel like Doug Peterson, and I'm hoping that Doug Peterson was holding on plays and didn't want to reveal all of his plays that he had in his handbook. I feel like we're going to start the season strong, going 4-0. If we just completely erase what we did in the preseason. Because if we mimic exactly what we did in the preseason, we're getting nowhere at all. Saturday is the final cuts. And they're going to have our 53-man roster around 4 p.m. And that's when they're going to release who they cut. Now, there's a few key guys that I want to stay on the Eagles. Like Carter and Josh Adams. I want those 2 to stay on the team because I feel like they can improve the team, and also they had a really awesome backstory to them. Now let's start with Carter. I'm going to have an individual video on him. It's going to get an entire video just on him if he doesn't get cut. It's going to be like a short documentary or a hype video on him. I feel like his backstory is really powerful and awesome. He needs a separate video all on his own. He had a really awesome preseason as well. He ranked 7th in receiving yards. He had 7.8 receiving yards per catch. That ranked 3rd amongst all receivers in the preseason. And I feel like he is going to make the team, and I hope that he's going to make the team. Now Josh Adams, on the other hand, he's a big running back. He still has lots to learn. And he didn't get help from the offensive line at all during this preseason. He's 6'3", 240. And I feel like he's a really powerful back that's going to replace a Garrett Blount for this coming up regular season. And I also want to mention Jordan Mailata. I think I pronounced his name correctly. I think that he's going to make the team as well. And I hope that he does too. He's not going to start right away because he still needs to develop during the regular season and in the next couple years. And I feel like he's going to be a really awesome offensive lineman as well. And he has a really good backstory too. I might do a separate video on him as well, like a documentary or a hype video like I'm going to do for Carter if he makes it. I hope all 3 of those players make the team because of their backstories, and I feel like they're going to improve the Eagles that much more. Nick Foles played terrible during the preseason. He went 10 whole drives without scoring any points. He had a lot of turnovers, and he had a safety. That was embarrassing, but it was actually pretty funny to watch. But this shouldn't worry you because I feel like he's going to bounce back in the regular season. Now I mean by that is that I think that he's going to start the first 2 to 3 games while Carson Wentz recovers. I do not want to rush Carson Wentz at all. Even though if he's cleared to play Thursday night against the Falcons this coming up week, I still don't want him to play. He's coming off a torn ACL and he tore 2 ligaments. I feel like if he does play this Thursday, I feel like it's going to be rushed. I just want him to take time, recover, so that he can come back full force and play like an MVP. Carson Wentz says that he watches Aaron Rodgers tapes in his free time. And I feel like that's really good because Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in the league and is really good to watch. Carson Wentz is even showing it in his play last year during the beginning of the season and throughout during his scramble plays. This is really awesome to see, and I feel like he's going to be our franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years. Our defense played really well in the preseason, and I'm excited to watch them during the regular season. I feel like they're going to have to carry us throughout the first few games of the regular season. So our offense is not complete yet. But once we get players back from injury and fully recovered, we're going to be one of the most complete teams, if not the most complete team in the NFL during the 2018 regular season. And I feel like we can push into the Super Bowl. Some other news. Alshon Jeffrey is going to miss the first couple of games due to his shoulder. He had surgery in late February of this year, and he's still recovering from that, so we're going to be without him. I know that he's not on the team anymore, but I feel like it's still relevant to the Eagles because he was on the Super Bowl run. But Michael Kendricks has been cut from the Browns. I found this to be really shocking because, it's Michael Kendricks and all. He got cut because he got caught doing insider trade. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to put a definition on the screen right about now. I found that to be really shocking that he got cut for doing that. Maybe we pick him up again as we're running short on linebackers because we just cut Corey Nelson. He was on the Broncos last year. Our linebacker position is really thin, and I feel like we need to strengthen that somehow. Even though Jordan Hicks is back from injury, we still need to have good backups. I feel like Jordan Hicks is going to come back stronger, and he's not going to get injured this year. Or at least I hope. I feel like we're going to cut Marcus Wheaton and Kamara Aikman because they didn't play in the preseason because of injuries. And when they did play, they didn't play that good. And I feel like they're not that good of receivers. Well, I mean, they are, but they're like 4th to 5th receivers. If we do keep them on the team, then I wouldn't mind either. But I just feel like those 2 receivers are going to be cut due to the lack of playing in the preseason. We're a little bit tight on the tight end position because Richard Rodgers is hurt. I don't know for how long because the team hasn't announced it. We have Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, both awesome tight ends. Those 2 tight ends that I just named are going to do really well in the regular season, but I feel like we need a third one, a blocking tight end or something. Billy Brown did really well in the preseason, so I feel like he's going to fill that third tight end role while Richard Rodgers gets better. Okay, this is the last news, but Brent Selleck has officially announced retirement. I did a hype video a few months back on him, and the link's going to be in the description below. I just want to congratulate him on a wonderful and awesome career as an Eagle, and I'm glad that he retired as an Eagle as well. I feel like we should have kept him because he's still a young tight end, and I feel like he had about 3 to 4 years left in it. I'm really sad to see him go, but good luck in retirement, and I hope he can come back in the Eagles organization somehow. And that's it for this video, and thanks for watching.